I've been asked to do a pack dump. This is usually how I'm packing in, especially when I'm going to be hunting out of a tree and I got a mile walk back in. This is how I transport everything. It's 10 degrees outside, or I'd go outside and show you. Let me disassemble it and get to my pack so we can do a pack dump for you. I rarely wear my coat on the way in. I will put it right there, and it's X'd with bungee straps. If it's below 45, I'm going to wear coveralls just like that, okay? I just go to Real King, $100 coveralls, okay? I can't live without a hand muff. There's no way. I'll get into that in a minute. But I don't put it around my waist because when I go to climb the tree, it's going to be in the way. So it's going to live there till I'm in position. So from the side, this is what it looks like. I do run these Hawk Heliums. I know people are going to laugh at that. These little rubber stoppers keep it from making any noise. See, there is no noise on this. And down here at the bottom, they prevent it from making any noise. I only run 1/8er, and to do that, I don't know what that's called. The electrician would know. Okay, what I'm walking in with, I put it here so I don't lose it. It must be 20 years old. It's when LEDs first came out, okay? But I'm walking in with this red light. It's very, very dim, just enough to see where I'm going. I don't want to go in lighting up the woods, okay? And I might use a green light. But when I turn it on, you got to put your hand over it until you get to the red light function. And I carry 2 of these and spare batteries. So that will be on my head. When I get to the tree, I'm going to take my sticks off because the rest of this is going up on my back. Okay, when I get to my stand, the first thing that's going to come out of my pack is all my straps. Most of the time, they're wrapped around the sticks. This thing here, I love this thing. If you've never used one, you ought to give it a try. Okay, I'm wearing my saddle, and I'm going to attach this to one of the loops on my saddle because the rest of this is going up. The only thing that's going to be on the ground is my bow, okay? And then at that point, this is going to go on my waist, but it's going to go backwards. I'm going to be wearing my saddle on the way in. Okay, I got to take my backpack off for just a minute to get the sticks off. And all I do is crisscross some camouflage bungees. These things here are going to attach to my saddle, to the loops on my saddle, on those, what are they called? S-hooks, S-clips, something like that. Each one of these sticks has got one of these on it. And I'll attach the one with the 8er, will go on my bottom stick, and the other 3 are going to go on my waist, and then I'll be going up with my lineman's belt. Okay, that's my 8er, and it's only on my bottom step. Okay, the rest of this is going up the tree like that. If you want to know how to make your seat into a shelf, you do it just like this, just a piece of paracord. When you get up there, just unhook it right there. You only need to unhook one. So if you don't know how this works, you put this around the tree and ratchet it down. So you've got this secured to the tree, and then you just take one strap off of the stand and your stand's ready to go. And then we'll take a second. I know this causes me to have to use 2 more straps. I usually don't put this one here is usually good, but then I'll put a second one right there after I cam this thing down real good. So I've always struggled. Remember, I'm old, and I've always struggled to be able to get a stand on, and that goes so easy. If I don't want to leave my stand up overnight, I can leave this hooked up to the tree. And the other neat thing is if your tree's at an angle, it's got these other slots to offset in case you're at an angle. The only thing I don't like about the XOP, you would think this would be a good cushion, but it sucks. I don't know how else to put it. It is not comfortable. But see, what I will do, since I like to be able to go around the tree if I need to, is I'll unhook both of these. And if I'm saddle hunting, I have knee pads against the tree, and I can stand up, I can hang around the tree, but I like being able to put my knees into this. So if I'm just standing, because I do all day sits, I'm not sitting on those little tiny platform, I do all day sits, and I cannot sit on that little platform staring at the tree. Okay, I like to look out and around. Okay, and at this point, this is going to be gone, or it's still on my head and I'm putting it on. This is going to get put somewhere, but not on the front. So here is the pack dump. First thing that's going to come out of here is this right here. This is my gear hanger. Okay, my bow's going to go there. My backpack is going to go on another one. My quiver is going to go on one, and grunt calls are going to go on another one. You just throw it around there, and I just love this thing. It is sort of expensive, but that's one of the first things that's going to go on. At that point, my backpack gets put on the tree. So my boonie hat. Now, I did not have all this raffia on there. This is when I was hunting Kansas, sitting on the ground. Okay, and my jacket, ghillie suit, is right there. I carry a spare pair of wool gloves in case my main gloves get wet. And that's what's in this thing. Before I go up the tree, I'm going to activate my electronic heater. I love this thing. I do not buy hot hands. Those things are expensive. If you go hunting as much as I do, this thing it's paid for itself time and time again over not having to buy hot hands. The gloves I'm going to wear when I'm on stand is I wear these military wool glove liners and just some Cabela fleece gloves. They're not real good in the wind, but this keeps my hands warm the best. And the main reason I wear this is my hands and feet sweat, and if I wear any kind of gloves that have a liner, my hands get soaking wet in there. This is what I wear. But if for some reason these get wet, I need a spare pair of, these are just Walmart wool gloves. The next couple points, I keep this in a bag to protect it, but this is my tree tether here. There's a similar one that's a lineman's belt, but this is going to go around the tree, and at this point I will have my tether up on the tree. Another trick, if you guys worry about your tether slipping, is if you girth hitch your, so that it is like this. When you put, and you got your line going through there, but otherwise, if this is just loose, it has a tendency to want to fall down the tree. So if you go around the tree like this and you let off, this likes to fall down. So you got to keep constant tension. If I'm wanting to be minimalist, this is what I use. Now sometimes I will use my Predator rope with a Ropeman 1. I do keep an extra muddy lineman's. Anyways, so I keep it in that bag to protect it from. So in this bag, I do all day sits, and I will keep dinner. These are the kind that you just add water in the packet and you will have a hot meal up there, because I don't come down. Right here, the next one of the next things, because I don't know when it's going to happen, is I pull my pocket 2 out and I find a branch to put it on. This is the camera I usually use. In this upper flap is where I will usually carry about 3 batteries for my Tachycam, which is going to be on my bow, but I need 3 spare batteries. This pocket here is always a bag full of milkweed. If for nothing else, when I get bored, I can study the wind. But I always have, now I have milkweed going all over the house. Okay. I carry 2 or 3 spare batteries. These are the batteries I use if I am, I'll get to that in a minute. This is in the wrong pocket. My rangefinder goes here. But once I'm in the tree, I will either have this either hanging from my neck, or it's going to be hooked up to one of these. But the thing is, I will usually have everything around me ranged out. If you don't use these kind of flashlights, you really ought to consider them. This is a headlamp if I'm coming down or whatever. But it uses 18 650 batteries that are totally rechargeable. And they last for hours, and they are super bright. You got your spotlight. Please, somebody explain this to me. Why do they put strobe lights in this? Why? So every time you turn this on and off, you have to go through the strobe light, which is such a pain. If I really need a strobe light, I could do this, right? That's just such a... but you can buy these on eBay for, I think it's $8, and they come with the battery. Free shipping from China. I just love them. I've got a bunch of them. This is my emergency headlamp if I am blood tracking and that one runs out. This one, here, it's a lot better quality, and it's about $30. But it is programmable. It uses the same batteries. It uses these same batteries. But you can program this. So, see, it's not doing any of that strobe stuff. But I typically, this is like if I'm in a really long, drawn out blood trail, I'll use this one. What else do I have in here? Cliff Bar. I've always got 1 or 2 chocolate brownie Cliff Bars. Bunch of zip ties. Usually I will have a knife stuck in here, but you see what happened there? I used to make sure I carried one of these when I was hunting out of ladder stands if you needed to cut yourself loose. But that's what happened here, was pulling that out. That seatbelt cutter cut that one. But that's usually, I'll have the knife clipped in right there. It's usually on the outside of the pack. I don't have it here now, but I usually have a bottle of G2 will be over here. That's when I usually carry 3 grunt calls. Emergency flashlight in here. And then there's another littler flashlight. See, even that one. So I carry 3 grunt tubes. The reason being, sounds like different deer, right? One of the next things is binos. And I didn't used to carry binos, but I don't do the bino harness thing. Because my idea, if I can't shoot the deer, what difference does it make? But these are image stabilizer binoculars. And there's a button you push right here. You push that button. You know, you watch the people when they're looking through binoculars, putting them on their bow to stabilize them. If you push that button, you don't need to hold it to stabilize it, because that button takes all the jitters out of it. If you ever watch me walking through the woods, this here will get clipped to my backpack strap along the front here. And that's what the Pocket 2 will mount into this. And see, the neat thing about the Pocket 2, if you're not familiar, most of my videos are actually filmed with this thing because it's on a gimbal. And you can walk and the image doesn't go up and down on you. And that's what this is for. So a lot of times I will carry a red light, a bright red light, if I want to. So I carry a really bright red light, and I use this a lot of times if I'm hunting a field edge and I'm worried about coming out, to make sure there's no deer out there in front of me, because there's nothing worse than if there's a mature buck out there, you bust him, that's it. If you bust him, that come off eBay for, I don't know, it wasn't very expensive. I don't know, 10 bucks or so. I want to make sure that field is clear before I come down. I might have to stay in that tree 2 or 3 hours after dark, because if I climb down, and when I'm doing out-of-state hunts and I'm only there for 3 or 4 days, if I bust him out in that field, that's it. You might as well find a different spot to hunt. The reason I keep all this stuff inside Ziploc baggies, there's nothing worse than getting a scratched up lens, because this was sitting there scratching your lens or anything else in there. So I don't know. So I keep a lot of things in baggies. I will carry several flashlights as backups. There's nothing worse than, I know people are going to laugh at me, but and all these flashlights, use those rechargeable batteries also. I've been on some long blood trails where other people don't hit the deer right, and we're back in there for hours and our flashlights go dead, and now what? The final thing I keep in here is a Bass Pro. If I don't have enough clothes and I'm getting cold, I keep a Puffy vest in the bottom, and I've been happy more than once that this thing is in there. And that's what's in the bottom, the very last thing. I mean, when you're sitting out there all day long. And I guess that's it. If I'm sitting from the ground, I will keep a bag for ground cover. Throw all my trash in over here to put my backpack in. So that's everything that goes with me hunting almost all the time. When it's getting dark, I will go ahead and get a headlamp out like that. And if you can see these, I've got a dozen backpacks, and I think I bought this one at Kmart years ago. And it's my favorite out of all of them because it's not too big and it's got all the pockets I need. My Pocket 2 camera fits right in there. And my Tachycam batteries, as I change my battery, pull out a fresh battery, I put the old battery in this pocket right there. There's a good chance that I'm going to walk in. Like I said, if it's above 45, I don't wear bibs. I wear jeans and base layers. But if I'm walking in, there's a good chance that there will be a sweatshirt or two in this bag. So usually all my lights go in these. In this part here. This goes in there. I'm coming down. This will go in there. That'll go in there. That usually hangs there. Of course, that'll be trash. That'll probably be trash. I want to protect the binos. Occasionally, if I'm hunting from the ground, I might have a tripod in here. But I also have a couple smaller ones. Everything I travel with is in baggies. Cold weather, below freezing, I'm going to wear military wool socks as a liner under Bass Pro Redhead merino wool socks. I love this combination. When you take your boots off, this sock will be dry. This sock might be soaking wet. So there's something about these wool, these are military boot socks, but they do not hold up well in the washer. You will see what happens. This part here is wool. This part up here is actually cotton, I think, with some polyester or something. But see how the cotton's faded? I hunt out of bags. If it's really cold, I might wear this Bass Pro sweatshirt. This is some kind of synthetic thing, and I just love this thing. Will not hold moisture. But this is one of those things that might get packed up and put in the backpack on the way in. My trunk will be filled because I do not wear the same clothes 2 days in a row. I'm a scent control fanatic. That's from 2016. So I age them so I can sort of cycle through them. Sweatpants and sweatshirt. These are just cotton, but usually that's not a problem. If it's warm weather, Carhartt. If it's really cold out. But if you've ever been in the military, you will recognize something here in a minute. I mean, this is how I did not get busted by those 3 does directly downwind. I do not wear... Do you wear the same underwear every day? There's a lot of people that wear the same clothes over and over and over. They just put them... They think a little bit of ozonics is going to take care of it or something. My base layers, okay? That's when it was bought so I can rotate them through. But these are military ECWCS, Extreme Cold Warfighter Clothing System. U.S. Army issue. If you can get on a military base, you can probably buy this stuff off eBay. It's like $15 for these, okay? This is the level 1 silk weight. Now, you can go to Cabela's and pay like $80 for this stuff. Or you can go to a military base, and this is what they call level 2. It's got that fleece. And this is, I got to pack a pair for every single day. So if I'm going on a 7-day hunt, I need 7 pairs of these because I am not wearing these. Do you wear the same underwear every day? I know some people do, but anything that touches, I will not wear again until it is washed. That's just me, and that's why I don't get winded. Now you can claim the old charcoal and all that kind of stuff, but it's the same way with the charcoal. You got to put it in the dryer and re-energize it. So I've also got different colors. This is good in a ground blind, all black. But as you know, all black in the woods is not a good thing. You stick out like a sore thumb, especially like right now when there's snow on the ground. But you can get by with that when there's snow on the ground, or this time of year, like your collar, if something sticks out. So if it's above freezing but below 45, Real King, these Polar Extremes, really good moisture wicking. I like these a lot. And if it's 45 in my midweight boots, I will just wear these from Bass Pro. They're not merino wool, but they work good. So that's about it, guys. I forgot, on the inside flap, I have a whole big wad of nitro gloves and paper towels. If I got to handle a deer or something, I don't get blood on my hand. I have plenty of gloves. Bibs, nothing fancy. Look, what is that, Walmart brand? Just as warm as any other pair I've seen out there. I mean, these are extremely warm. Thing is, where I hunt, there's tons of cockerbarrels, beggar's lice, stick tights. And even with these, you'll come out and you'll spend forever picking that stuff off. My one big pet peeve is, why do they make, I would just assume they'd cut these off here. Because you have to, now see, look at this stuff. Wife will have a fit if she sees this, but you know, this stuff sticks to everything. And I like to hunt in layers, and when it starts getting windy or after I've cooled off, I want some kind of fleece lined coat, but I don't buy these $300 coats. I hunt down to -5 and I do just fine. There's the bow. I know you guys are going to laugh at this, but I've been hunting with this thing for, I don't know, 20 years. Lightweight, doesn't hardly weigh anything. I'm only going to shoot out to 30 yards. I don't need no Matthews lift. I know, I still shoot a whisker biscuit. Like my Kansas hunt where I'm hunting from the ground, I'm just, what do they call these, dove stools? Above freezing, I'm wearing these Lincoln Outfitters. What are they, 600 grain. The problem with these, I wear size 12. These are 13 and I can't double sock these. Above 45, I'm wearing these Walmart. They're 400 grain. What I wore up in Kansas when it was 10 degrees was muck Arctics. When it's below freezing and there's a foot of snow on the ground, this is what I'm wearing. I like these a lot better than the Baffins, because the Baffins, my feet sweat. They get soaking wet on the inside. They're like sponges in there. I've gotten so much hate on that review. But these are my go-to boots, these muck Arctics. But one of the most important things when you're walking a mile back in is a good pair of orthotics. Good pair of orthotics is a must. Bass Pro, but they were only $10 when I bought them. They are a must if you're going back walking a mile in these rubber boots, because every pair of these boots, I mean, it's like walking barefoot in them. There's no arch support in any of my boots. Just add you a little bit of orthotics. The final thing, I have a deer on the ground. I've either shot him, watched him hit the ground, or he ran off and I'm going to have to blood trail. And if I don't see him go down, I'm going to give him 3 hours before I pick up the trail. So at that point, I'm going to go back to the car, take off my coat, my bibs. I'm going to take off if it's cold, my heavy muck boots, and I'm going to put on thin boots. And I'm going to take, if the wind's blowing, I'm going to probably go ahead and put on Tyvek suit, depending upon. Anyways, 2 things I forgot. One of the most important things, this lives in the side of my backpack. That or the back pocket of my jeans or bibs. This is always somewhere where I can get to it. The other flashlight I use a lot is this one right here. Now this one is not push button. It has a side, no flashing, no nothing. I really like this one. It's an Energizer. It was like $10 years ago. When I'm walking in, there's my red light. Very dim, very, very dim. Just enough to see where I'm going to put my feet. The other ones have a tendency, if you put something on top of them and hits the button, you might pull your light out and it's dead because it got activated. That's what I like about this one, where you've got a side switch. So I've always got 2 or 3 red lights. I've either seen the deer go down or I'm going to have to blood trail if it was a bad shot. This is the backpack I'm going to go back with. I'm going to go back to the car, take my coat off, probably take my bibs, change my boots. My bow is going to go in the trunk, my backpack, all that's going to get dumped. Got to remember, I'm a solo hunter and I'm probably a mile back in. I'm solo. There's no way I'm going to drag a 225, 250 pound deer out. So my plan is I'm going to butcher it on the ground. I got this backpack, and when I go in, my kill kit is going to go inside of here. But when I come out, this is going to be lined with the trash bag. It's going to be full of the meat, and then I carry a 4-foot piece of rope that's going to go from I'm going to put the head in a trash bag, and one side of the antlers is going to get tied around here, and the other is going to get tied around here. I wish I could have filmed bringing that 12-pointer out and how I did it in the pack. If you watch my video, you'll see I was carrying 55 pounds of weight bringing them out. But it was an ice storm, and I didn't want to get my phone wet. 1 a.m. when I finally made it back to the car. The rope's going to go across here, so the antlers are going to be in a trash bag tied up, and a rope going across from both sides so it doesn't swing around. And on that point coming out, so at that point coming out, there's a carabiner on here, and this is going to get strapped to the backpack there. And this is going to be full of meat. Antlers are going to be here, and this is going to ride over here. This is my kill kit. Okay, everything I need and more so is going to be in here. First thing is a bunch of nitro gloves, and if I have, sometimes I will use a pair of catfish pliers to pull the hide back. Comes in useful. Sometimes I use it, sometimes I don't. Harbor Freight. It's 10 degrees. Nitro gloves, if you've ever worn those, butchering a deer when it's 10 degrees, your hands will freeze. Okay? Harbor Freight, they're about $7. They're a heavy fleece-lined glove that's been coated with the nitrile on the outside. And you can see, you can grip the meat really good. Okay? I mean, after they're done, I'm probably going to throw them away if they're covered in hair and blood. I keep them sealed up in here just to be sanitary, because this is going to be touching my meat. Next thing I talk about, a Tyvek suit. Okay? I have hunted in these when it's snow, because it's completely white. The wind, if the wind's blowing when I'm going in, the wind will not go through this. One of the problems is you will sweat in this thing. But I don't ever get blood on my coveralls or my base layers or my arms, on any of my clothing, because I can put on this Tyvek suit. Actually, I haven't used that this year. I've just been careful and haven't got any blood on myself, but it's been nice in the past where I can kneel down in the snow wearing the Tyvek suit and not worry about blood. Next is my knives, okay? I'm really not a fan of these, but I do carry one and a spare blade. But I will use this for going around the legs and making some of my initial cuts. These are for people that don't know how to sharpen a knife. If when I'm cutting that deer and I know I'm going to nick the bone, okay, this is the one from that 12-pointer. And you will see anywhere you hit bone, it will tear that blade all up. And there's really no sharpening those. So around the legs, pulling the head off, I'm in a hurry. A lot of times I will use this thing. It's for people that don't know how to sharpen a knife, basically. But my good knives, if you nick bone, the knife's going to be dull. So I basically I'm going to do most everything with 2 knives. Now here's a spare one. These comes from Gordon's Food Supply. But I'm a big fan of that gut hook when I'm pulling the back straps out. I usually will take down the spine. I will make a cut with this one to get it started. And then I will take this one and I will rip the hide all the way up, pull the flap over, and I might have to use this a little bit to pull the flap down to pull the back straps out, and I will go all the way around the vent and the tail, pull it down the leg because I'm going to pull all the... I keep this in there just to keep that knife from poking a hole through the bag and coming out. A taxidermist taught me this. I spent the day with a deer processor taxidermy in Breckenridge County. And this is all he used to butcher a deer. And he would just, every 2 or 3 deer, he'd steal the blade and he'd keep on going. It's Gordon's Food Supply. They're only like $4. But you can get in such detail to pull out each of the rolls in the hind quarter. I will sharpen it, usually with a mouse pad and 400 grit sandpaper, doing a convex edge on it because it's not a hollow ground edge. Pulling all the meat out of the deer will be done with this. The back straps, everything with this right here. Those are usually my go-to. I'm in between these here because this gives you this handle, which can be very nice. So I don't know. I just keep a spare knife if I have to. Depending upon my mood, a lot of times I will use this for ripping that hide off. That carpet hook knife, once you get it in there, you can go the entire length of the deer, okay? There's none of this under the hide. There's none of this going under the hide like this. Once you get that in there and don't stop, just one long continuous and it will rip that hide open however you want it. So that's the knives I'm going to use. I have 3 trash bags. As I butcher the deer, I'm going to usually lay a trash bag on the ground for a ground cover so I keep the dirt off my stuff. And then I'll have another trash bag, or I'll put the backpack down and I'll put a trash bag inside the backpack for the next part. And the third trash bag is to put the deer head in. So I always got 3 Dollar General Store 30-gallon black trash bags. And then I will keep a 12 gallon freezer bags. And as I pull the meat out, one back strap will go in one, the other side will go in the other, and each of the roast on the hind quarter are going to go in its separate backpack. And I haven't refilled this since I took that 12-pointer out. But you want to get the kinds that have the zip because your hands are bloody, it's 10 degrees, they're cold, and trying to seal that up is a real pain. The other important thing, because before you start cutting, you want to lay out so many bags and open them up, because there's nothing worse than you're holding the back strap dangling to the 3.5 foot back strap, and now you've got to open a baggie to put it in. So you want to open your baggies up and get them all ready to put the meat in. So I basically pull the back straps, the tenderloin, and all the rolls, roast, whatever you want to call them, off the hind quarter. I don't take the neck roast. I don't take the ribs. Remember, I'm by myself, okay? I will have a trash bag here, and I will put I will load all those freezer bags full of the meat in through here. And I'm going to have about 25 pounds of meat when I come out. Then the head's going to get put on here. The kill kit's going to get put on here. Oh, and another thing I often carry in the bag on the way in, there will be a hacksaw, which I don't have it here because I haven't cleaned it up. But there'll be a hacksaw that'll be in like 3 Walmart bags to keep the blade from cutting something. But a hacksaw is real handy to have with you to pull the head off. So it's all going to go in this backpack. That's my kill kit, and I think that's about it. And that's everything you need to butcher a deer on the ground. Just leave the carcass behind and take all the meat and the head with you. I don't waste my time gutting them, and I'm not dragging a deer a mile on public by myself, just to take it back and hang it up and butcher it. Why not butcher it on the ground right there? So I did a video on how I butcher a deer on the ground in the field, and YouTube demonetized it. I won't be attaching it to the end of this video. I really would like to show you guys how I do the gutless butchering method on the ground, but because of the blood, YouTube will demonetize it.